In the heart of Transylvania, nestled between the ancient Carpathian mountains, lies the quaint village of Stregoicavar. Its cobblestone streets wind like serpents through the dense forest, and the mist hangs heavy in the air, obscuring the moonlit sky. Legends whispered in hushed tones speak of dark creatures that prowl the night, feeding on the blood of the living. Among these legends, one tale stands out, a story of terror and sorrow that haunts the villagers to this day. Long ago, in a time when superstition ruled the land, there lived a young maiden named Evelina. She was the fairest in all the village, with cascading locks of ebony hair and eyes as deep as the midnight sky. But beneath her beauty lay a heart heavy with sorrow, for she was betrothed to a cruel and jealous man named Vladislav. Vladislav was a wealthy landowner, feared by all who knew him. His dark eyes held a sinister gleam, and his thin lips curled into a wicked smile at the sight of Evelina. He cared not for her gentle spirit nor her kind heart, only for the power he wielded over her. Desperate to escape her fate, Evelina sought solace in the arms of another, a handsome stranger who had come to the village under the cloak of night. He was unlike any man she had ever known, with an air of mystery that drew her in like a moth to a flame. Little did she know that he was no ordinary man, but a creature of the night, a vampire. Their forbidden love blossomed in secret, hidden away from prying eyes. But Vladislav's jealousy knew no bounds, and he soon discovered their affair. Consumed with rage, he vowed to punish them both, for in his eyes, Evelina belonged to him alone. One fateful night, as the village slumbered peacefully, Vladislav's men descended upon the young lovers' hideaway. With torches blazing and swords drawn, they tore them apart, ripping Evelina from her lover's embrace. In a fit of rage, Vladislav plunged a silver dagger into the vampire's heart, cursing him to an eternity of darkness. But the vampire's dying breath carried with it a terrible curse, a curse that would forever bind Evelina to him. As the life drained from his body, his blood mingled with hers, sealing their fates together for all eternity. In the cold light of dawn, Evelina awoke to find herself changed. Her once pale skin now burned at the touch of sunlight, and a hunger gnawed at her insides, a hunger for the blood of the living. Horrified by what she had become, she fled into the night, seeking refuge in the shadows. But Vladislav would not let her escape so easily. He hunted her relentlessly, his thirst for vengeance driving him to the brink of madness. And as the years passed, the village of Stregoicavar became a place of dread and despair, haunted by the specter of two lovers torn apart by jealousy and betrayal. To this day, the legend of Evelina and the vampire remains shrouded in mystery. Some say they still roam the forests of Transylvania, their undying love a curse upon all who dare to cross their path. And though the villagers dare not speak of them aloud, their presence lingers like a shadow, a reminder of the darkness that lurks within us all. As the years turned into decades, the village of Stregoicavar became a place forgotten by time, its once bustling streets now mere whispers of the past. But the legend of Evelina and the vampire endured, passed down from generation to generation as a cautionary tale of forbidden love and its tragic consequences. In the shadows of the forest, whispers began to spread of strange happenings, livestock found drained of blood, villagers disappearing without a trace in the dead of night. Fear gripped the hearts of those who remained, and rumors of the return of the vampire and his cursed bride spread like wildfire. But amidst the growing panic, a lone figure emerged, a stranger with eyes as dark as midnight and a presence that sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest souls. He spoke of a way to rid the village of the vampire's curse, a ritual passed down through the ages by those who dared to defy the darkness. With trembling hands and hearts heavy with fear, the villagers gathered beneath the boughs of the ancient oak tree at the edge of the forest. The stranger led them in a ritual of purification, chanting ancient incantations as the flames of the bonfire licked at the night sky. But as the final words were spoken, a chill swept through the air, and a figure emerged from the darkness, a woman with eyes as dark as coal and a hunger that could not be sated. It was Evelina, her beauty twisted by centuries of darkness, her soul trapped in a prison of eternal torment. With a cry of anguish, the villagers recoiled in horror, but the stranger stood firm, his gaze never wavering. He raised his hand, a glint of silver catching the moonlight, and with a swift motion, plunged a stake into Evelina's heart. A deafening silence fell over the village as Evelina's form crumbled to dust, her curse finally broken. But as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, the stranger vanished into the shadows, leaving behind only whispers of his name, Van Helsing, the hunter of monsters. And so, the village of Stregoicavar was free from the grip of darkness, but the memory of Evelina and the vampire lingered like a shadow, a reminder of the thin line between love and obsession, and the price paid for meddling with forces beyond mortal comprehension. But whether Van Helsing's work was truly done, or if another chapter of darkness awaited them, only time would tell. As the days passed and life in Stregoicavar returned to a semblance of normalcy, whispers of the stranger known as Van Helsing lingered like a haunting melody in the hearts of the villagers. Some spoke of him with reverence, believing him to be a savior sent to rid their village of evil. Others whispered in hushed tones, wondering what other horrors he might unleash upon their world. But amidst the uncertainty, a new darkness began to stir, a darkness far more insidious than any they had faced before. Strange omens appeared throughout the village, symbols etched in blood upon doorways. Whispers carried on the wind that spoke of a darkness awakening from its slumber. Rumors spread of travelers disappearing on the forest roads, their bodies never to be found. Children spoke of nightmares plagued by visions of shadowy figures lurking at the edge of their beds. And in the dead of night, the sound of mournful wails echoed through the streets, sending chills down the spines of even the bravest souls. The villagers turned to each other for comfort, seeking solace in their shared fear. But as the darkness grew ever closer, their bonds began to fray, suspicion and paranoia seeping into their hearts like poison. Amidst the chaos, a lone figure emerged, a woman with eyes as dark as night and a smile that promised both salvation and damnation. She spoke of a power beyond mortal comprehension, a power that could grant them the strength to face the darkness head-on. But her words came with a price paid in blood and souls. And as the villagers watched in horror, they realized too late the true nature of the bargain they had struck. For the woman was none other than Evelina, reborn from the ashes of her former self, her thirst for vengeance unquenchable. And by her side stood a new companion, a creature more fearsome than any they had faced before, a creature born of darkness and despair. As the moon cast its pale light upon the village of Stregoicavar, a new chapter of horror began, a chapter written in blood and shadow, where the lines between good and evil blurred and the fate of all hung in the balance. And whether Van Helsing would return to face this new threat, or if the villagers would be left to fend for themselves against the encroaching darkness, only time would tell. As the darkness descended upon Stregoicavar, the villagers found themselves trapped in a nightmare from which there seemed to be no escape. Evelina, now more powerful than ever, ruled over the village with an iron fist, her thirst for vengeance consuming her every thought. Under her command, the creature of shadow prowled the streets, striking fear into the hearts of all who dared to defy them. Families huddled together in their homes, praying for dawn to break and free them from the grip of terror. But amidst the chaos, whispers began to spread of a flicker of hope, a rumor that Van Helsing still walked among the living, his determination to rid the world of evil as strong as ever. Some dismissed it as wishful thinking, a desperate grasp at salvation in a world gone mad. But others clung to the hope that he would return, a beacon of light in their darkest hour. Meanwhile, deep within the forest, a group of unlikely allies gathered, a band of rebels determined to overthrow Evelina's reign of terror and restore peace to their village. Led by a former soldier whose bravery knew no bounds, they trained day and night, honing their skills in preparation for the inevitable battle that lay ahead. But as they prepared to confront the forces of darkness, they soon realized that their true enemy lurked not in the shadows, but within their own ranks. For Evelina's influence extended far beyond the village, corrupting even the most steadfast of allies with promises of power and glory. And so, as the final showdown loomed on the horizon, the fate of Stregoicavar hung in the balance, its future uncertain. Would Van Helsing emerge from the shadows to vanquish the darkness once and for all? Or would Evelina's grip on the village prove too strong, condemning them to an eternity of fear and despair? As the villagers braced themselves for the inevitable clash, only one thing was certain: the battle for Stregoicavar had only just begun, and the stakes had never been higher. As the tension in Stregoicavar reached its peak, the villagers found themselves torn between hope and despair. Whispers of rebellion filled the air, while fear of Evelina's wrath kept many paralyzed with uncertainty. But amidst the chaos, a new player emerged, a mysterious figure shrouded in darkness, his motives unknown to all. This enigmatic stranger, known only as the Wanderer, moved through the village like a ghost, his presence both unsettling and intriguing. Some whispered that he was a harbinger of doom, a bringer of chaos who sought to exploit the village's turmoil for his own gain. Others saw him as a potential ally, a force of nature who could tip the scales in their favor against Evelina's tyranny. But as the days passed and tensions continued to mount, it became clear that the Wanderer's true intentions remained shrouded in mystery. Some claimed to have seen him consorting with Evelina under the cover of darkness, while others swore they saw him lurking in the shadows, watching the village with cold, calculating eyes. Amidst the confusion, one thing became certain: the fate of Stregoicavar hung in the balance, its future teetering on the edge of a knife. And as the villagers prepared for the inevitable clash, they couldn't shake the feeling that something far more sinister lurked beneath the surface, waiting to be unleashed. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the moon cast its pale light upon the village, the stage was set for a showdown unlike any other. The forces of darkness and light stood poised for battle, their destinies intertwined in a struggle for supremacy that would shake Stregoicavar to its very core. But as the first cries of battle echoed through the night, a chilling realization dawned upon the villagers: the Wanderer was nowhere to be found, his true allegiance still a mystery. And as they fought for their lives against Evelina's relentless onslaught, they couldn't help but wonder, was the Wanderer their salvation, or the final nail in their coffin? The battle raged on in Stregoicavar, the clash of steel and the roar of magic echoing through the night as the forces of darkness and light clashed in a desperate struggle for dominance. Amidst the chaos, the villagers fought with all their might, their courage bolstered by the hope that they might yet emerge victorious against Evelina and her minions. But as the tide of battle shifted back and forth, a shadowy figure slipped through the chaos unnoticed, a figure cloaked in darkness, his true intentions known only to himself. The Wanderer moved with purpose, his steps silent as he navigated the labyrinthine streets of the village, his eyes alight with a cold, calculating gleam. As he moved closer to the heart of the conflict, whispers began to spread among the villagers, whispers of treachery and deceit, of a betrayer lurking in their midst. Suspicion ran rampant as accusations flew, each villager casting wary glances at their neighbors, unsure of who they could trust. Meanwhile, Evelina watched from the shadows, her lips curved into a cruel smile as she witnessed the chaos unfolding before her. To her, the betrayal of the villagers was inevitable, a testament to the weakness of mortals and their futile attempts to defy the darkness that lurked within them all. But as the Wanderer reached the heart of the conflict, a sudden hush fell over the battlefield, the clash of weapons silenced by the weight of his presence. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed a wave of darkness that engulfed the combatants, freezing them in place with fear and uncertainty. And then, in a voice like ice, he spoke a single word that sent shivers down the spines of all who heard it. Enough. With that, the Wanderer unleashed a power unlike anything the villagers had ever seen, carrying through Evelina's forces with a ferocity that left them reeling. And as the dust settled and the cries of battle faded into the night, the villagers looked upon the Wanderer with newfound awe and fear, unsure of what his true intentions might be. For in the heart of Stregoicavar, where darkness and light waged an eternal war, the lines between friend and foe had blurred beyond recognition. And as the villagers picked up the pieces of their shattered lives, they knew that the true battle had only just begun. As the dust settled over Stregoicavar and the echoes of battle faded into the night, a sense of calm descended upon the village. The darkness that had gripped their hearts for so long began to recede, replaced by a glimmer of hope as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon. With Evelina's reign of terror finally brought to an end, the villagers emerged from their homes, their faces weary but filled with newfound determination. They had faced the darkness head-on and emerged victorious, their courage and resilience shining like beacons in the face of adversity. In the days that followed, the villagers worked together to rebuild their shattered community, their bonds stronger than ever before. They tended to the wounded, comforted the grieving, and celebrated the triumph of good over evil with feasts and revelry that lasted long into the night. And amidst the joy and laughter, whispers of the Wanderer's heroism spread throughout the village, his mysterious actions earning him the respect and gratitude of all who called Stregoicavar home. Though his true identity remained a mystery, his presence served as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there are those who will rise to the challenge and fight for what is right. As the seasons changed and life returned to normal in Stregoicavar, The memory of Evelina and the darkness she had brought with her began to fade into legend. The villagers went about their lives with a newfound sense of peace, knowing that they had faced their greatest fear and emerged stronger for it. And though whispers of the wanderer still lingered in the air, his enigmatic presence serving as a reminder of the mysteries that lay beyond the village's borders, the people of Stregoicavar looked to the future with hope and optimism, knowing that no matter what challenges may come their way, they would face them together, united in strength and resilience.